Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Darrell Owens, and we're back for another edition of One-on-One here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network, and, of course, Aaron on the amazing Bowie Television. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it is draft time. We are just a few days away, 2 days away to be exact, and we're still getting through our mock drafts. And today we got the amazing Lamonte Thomas here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network, part of our team, a great member of our team, and he's going to bring you his first-round mock. And we're about to get that party started right now. Episode 166 right now on the LegacyMaker Sports Network and airing on the amazing Bowie Television.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to One-on-One at LegacyMaker Sports Network.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for episode 166 of One-on-One. It's a gorgeous Tuesday night, and we're just 2 days away from the NFL draft. And, of course, we've been bringing you our first-round mock draft series. We had our man Cody Stewart last week. We had James Brown last night. Tonight, we got the man, the myth, the absolute legend that is my guy, Mr. Lamonte Thomas. Lamonte, how you doing, brother? Got a little different flair in the background today. Oh, the Bills. Wait a minute.
Listen, all my Broncos faithful, please forgive me. In my father's war room right now, you know, it's Bills Mafia or else. So I'm gonna just let you. Hey, it's some pretty decor, so I'll take it. I like the colors, but that's all I.
Yeah, I got a little sprinkle of Pittsburgh in the background too. I don't know how they
right.
feel
My family's
about
from Pittsburgh, so you know they divided household.
just a little bit divided household. Look, once again, everybody, we're glad to have Lamonte with us, and today we're going to have Lamonte's first round mock. Before we get started, Lamonte, how excited are you for this week's NFL draft?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna say a 15. I mean, this is the time, right, where everybody gets excited for football season again, right? You know, we're some months away, past the Super Bowl, and everybody's looking to get excited about their teams again, the off season, and to see their teams for the first time. And what better to dream about that look than, the NFL draft and your new additions and new pieces. So.
Yeah, so many great pieces that will be added. So many teams will fulfill their dream of taking that next step. Who could be the next Philadelphia Eagles who built this team through great Georgia Bulldogs and a couple of great pieces here. They were able to do some good things, and now they're Super Bowl champions. Who's going to be that team to try to do the same thing this year? Well, let's find out, and let's go ahead and get Lamonte's mock draft started right now. And let's get started with picks 1 through 8. Lamonte, here we go. Your first 8 picks of this NFL draft. The Tennessee Titans on the board. Where do you have them going?
With the number 1 pick of the 2025 NFL draft, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Cam Ward. Miami, they're obviously in need of a quarterback. He's obviously the best quarterback on the board. I think this will be the move for them. Now, rumors have it that they could, fall in love with Abdul Carter and draft him first, the edge from Penn State. But I think Cam Ward's the move for this franchise moving forward. And then, honestly, I think the best move for Tennessee to do is, not only pick Cam Ward with the first pick, but if they were to package, or at least I think it's the second round pick that they have, they could move up and add another piece too. But for right now, I think Cam Ward would be the move. I mean, if they didn't want quarterback, they could also maybe see what Atlanta wants for Kirk Cousins, maybe a 4th rounder or something like that. But, yeah, I see Cam Ward being the move there.
So Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans, and the next question is what's next for Will Levis? I guess we'll find out here in the next couple of months if they go in and draft Cam Ward. At number 2, the Cleveland Browns, a team that there's a couple teams maybe in this top 8 that probably a lot of teams thought they wouldn't be in this situation again. heading into this year. The Browns being one of them, coming off of a playoff year the year before, but going right back into the depths of where the Browns fans have unfortunately been used to them being. Where do they go at number 2?
Yeah, in order to keep those bags off of the Browns fans' heads, I say for number 2, the Cleveland Browns should select Travis Hunter. Wide receiver and defensive back from Colorado. He's probably the most skilled player, in this draft. While you're at it, the best move for Cleveland would also be if they can trade that 33rd overall pick, maybe to the Cowboys, maybe to Denver. They move up. And if they can also get Shedeur Sanders if he slips, right? Now you're talking about a Browns team that hasn't done something since 2014, where they traded that 26th pick in a third rounder to Philly to draft Johnny Manziel, right? But now in this case, you would have Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, a tandem that's played together, 2 electric guys on offense to go with keeping Myles Garrett on the defensive end. I say that's the way the Browns should go.
Now, it's a very interesting scenario that you placed there, but it could be a very smart scenario. If you can get, especially if you see Shedeur starting to slip, and if there's a way for you to get back in and grab Shedeur, so now all of a sudden you got those 2 college teammates who've played together for 5 years. You got a Heisman Trophy winner along, that these guys have a bond like no other. Why not make that happen and maybe change the fortunes of the Cleveland Browns for years to come? That could be a very interesting scenario. At number 3, the New York Football Giants. There's a lot of people that say, hey, man, go quarterback. But you just picked up Russell Wilson and you just picked up Jameis Wilson. You're going to have the most positive quarterback room in the league. There's no negativity coming out. They could be 1-15, and these suckers are going to be like, let's ride Giants country. And then you go,
let's ride.
It's going to be one of the 3. So where do you have the Giants going at 3?
Well, because they made those moves at quarterback, I got the Giants selecting Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. Now that's kind of high to some people, but I think that if Sanders isn't there or they don't want him, I think that Johnson or Carter would enhance this defense, immensely. Now I look at the blueprint of how Washington drafted Sanders from Michigan last year, and he worked wonders for that team, and got them in that deep playoff run. So I think Will Johnson will help this team. He's supposed to be the man, even more than they were talking about Sinistro last year. So if that's the case, you add that lockdown corner and the likes of playing a CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Terry McLaurin, right? All those times during the year, I definitely think that would be a piece for you.
Yeah, and they definitely there's a lot of places that the Giants can go. And I don't think they would hurt themselves depending on where they go. A lot of people say this could be a dual Carter where you have a multitude of pass rushers. That's not a bad thing to have. So there's a lot of ways that this Giants team can go. And I really don't think – I think whoever they draft is going to really help make them just that much better. At number 4, the New England Patriots.
Yep, for the New England Patriots, I got them. If Travis Hunter is gone, because he should be the best player on their board, but he'll most likely be gone. I say they should draft Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle from Texas. I do believe that he may be the best player to help Drake May, going forward. We've seen flashes in him, but he looks like he needs help. I think back to when the Bengals had the choice of going either Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase. Obviously, Chase worked out phenomenally for them, right? But just think about if they would have been able to keep Burrow upright a little more, right? And just think about what he could do. Even in the adversity, he's been fighting for his life and being amazing. But if he had that protection, who knows? And I just think that it's right. It just felt right? The Patriots were on pace to have the number 1 pick in the draft. And in week 18, they beat the Buffalo Bills to take them from number 1 to number 4. So it's only right that they grab this offensive tackle.
So a little protection there for Drake May, who got sacked quite a bit last year, but definitely showed a lot of promise out there in New England. At number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that just 2 years ago were fighting, in the playoffs, almost knocked off the Chiefs. Then they were number 1 in the AFC the following year before Trevor Lawrence got hurt. And then last year, everything just fell off. Where did they go to pick things up at number 5?
I said they go D-lines. They get Mason Graham from Michigan. a big need for everybody in this division really could be the defensive line. But I think that, if they can get ahead with it, he's a unanimous All-American D tackle. Maybe even a Jalon Walker if they believe in him from Georgia. But somebody who can rush, right? And that'll give them a edge, on the defensive side of the ball where nobody is really broke away on offense but the Texans. I mean, the Texans are far and away out there. But other than that, it's like, it's kind of wide open out there.
Yeah, so that's where they're another team that I know. I was watching Rich Eisen, so I'm a big Rich Eisen guy.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, when I was growing up, it was him and Stuart Scott, and there's only a couple of like shows that I sit and just like really watch. I watch McAfee. That's more for the newer generation style of thinking.
Yes.
But when I want to go old school, the one guy that I go to is Rich Eisen. When I want to have a guy who has that vision of where I grew up, I like to listen to a lot of Rich Eisen. And he said that Jacksonville may surprise some people this year where they go. If a lot of people think that they may not go the route that a lot of people are thinking. So that'll be very interesting to kind of keep in mind. Rich be trying to have his ears to the ground. But there's a part of me that if that happens, I got a feeling they might go quarterback. And if they do that, then that means Trevor Lawrence is on the block. Now, this is me going far-fetched here, and I know we were drafting, but I remember at one point, and I heard it, and I don't know if it was true or I just heard it out of a whim, but there was a talk that the Steelers at one point were looking at maybe trying to trade for Trevor Lawrence a couple of months ago.
That could be nice.
And I mean, if you get Trevor Lawrence there, that solves your problems, at least for the short term. At least it looks like it would solve your problems without, especially not knowing what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. So that's just something to kind of keep out there in the atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. At number 6, the Vegas Raiders. Where do you have them going?
The Vegas Raiders. I don't know if I have it in my heart to say it like that, but I'm gonna let it slide. No, but I got the Raiders taking. I think they'll take Jahdae Barron from Texas, the cornerback. I think they can also trade back and possibly still get him. So, but I think it's a good move for them. I just think that this defense has been inconsistent. They've had flashes where they actually surprised people. I mean, they beat the Chiefs, I believe, a year, not last year, but maybe the year before. And they have those flashes, but they don't have a consistent guy to be like, other than Crosby, of course, to be like, these guys are for real. So I think adding a Jahdae Barron could help out. I heard that they've also been tied to Ashton Genty, which would make a lot of sense. But, probably a safer pick. But I think Barron can help this team.
All right. We'll see where Vegas goes with the under the new direction of former Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. At number 7, and I said this last night with James, and I know you'll feel the same sentiment, the New York Football Jets, a team that starting over again. They've started over pretty much almost every year since 2010.
God dang Jets.
since 2010. It's tough, man. It's tough. A team that every year you'd be like, wait a minute, they might have a little something. Or every other year you'd be like, this could be the year it changes, man. And it's been 15 years since the Jets have made the playoffs. They have the longest current playoff drought in the NFL. Where do they go to try to get on the path to end that streak?
At number 7, I got the Jets drafting Armand Membao, offensive tackle, Missouri. I think that, last year they drafted Olu Fashanu. They got him on one side. If you put Membao on the right, 6'4", 332, he's got some speed to his feet. They could have their line set for years, right? And how many teams can say that they have that stable offensive line for years to come? Not to mention, you think about their skill positions. I mean, they need to figure it out. Quarterback, they got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. They got some pieces. So you get that offensive line to anchor that offense, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah, we know the Jets defense. If you look on paper, you're like, they got some really talented pieces on that team, but can they figure it out? At number 8, and the last out of this 1 through 8 picks, we've got the Carolina Panthers.
Yep. At number 8, I got the Panthers selecting Jalon Walker, edge from Georgia. I did hear that the GM, Dan Morgan, and the head coach, Dave Canellis, is in love with the guy as a motivator and what he does for his team. It looked like he can stand up or he can get down. He spent 300 snaps in the box, 250 on the D-line, right? They say he's a little undersized at 6'1", 243, but he is fast. He hails from Salisbury, North Carolina, right? Right there is a hometown guy, natural leader. And I just think that, when you hear that Georgia theme song, you think of a Jelon Walker for sure.
Well, there it is, 1 through 8. We got Ward to the Titans. We got Hunter heading to Cleveland. Will Johnson heading his way to the Giants. Calvin Banks to New England. Mason Graham, the former Michigan superstar, heading to Jacksonville. Jade Barron heading to the Raiders, going out to Vegas. The New York Jets with Ahmad Mbu, and then of course the Carolina Panthers with Jelon Walker, and not from the University of Georgia. Inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. Inside joke. That University of Georgia is in Puerto Rico. Let's head through numbers 1 through 16. At number 9, we've got the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints, they could be without Derek Carr this year. So a lot of people are screaming quarterback. Do you have them going quarterback as well?
I do. I have the Saints drafting Shedeur Sanders at 9, and the wait will be over to see when this draft gets shaken up, right? Because we already know that he is the piece to shake the draft up. I think that, with all the hype around him, if Carr does require this surgery, if he's going to miss this time, Kellen Moore and Shedeur Sanders together may equal gunslinger heaven, right? You got GM Mickey Loomis. He's had a bad reputation for putting the Saints in bad cap space. But if you have your franchise quarterback on a rookie contract, who knows what can help for them? Maybe that is rebuilding time, right? You do have to watch the other teams, if they want to get him. Got to watch the Clevelands, the Giants, Vegas. But if he's there, you pull the trigger.
Okay. So there we go. Right there, Shedeur Sanders heading to Colorado, not switching colors of the uniform. Just a little bit of a different little symbol thing going on there. And I promise you, I know that the city of New Orleans will embrace Shedeur Sanders to the T. That's the one thing that I got from the experience going down there this year. The Saints fans, they are heavy duty down there in New Orleans. At number 10, the Chicago Bears. A team that has rebuilt they've rebuilt their offensive line here in the offseason, bringing in some really powerful people and some really great offensive linemen with Joe Tunde. And then you also brought in Alex Mack to be the man in the middle for the center position. They brought in some really nice pieces. But where did they go at number 10?
Well, since they fixed that offensive line, I say at number 10, the Bears will select Abdul Carter, edge from Penn State. Now, in this scenario, he's there, and I feel like that's a no-brainer for them. I think that they like the guy so much that they could trade this number 10, the number 41, and their third round to go all the way up to 4, to take New England's pick to go get him then, because I hear they like him that much. He can be a Mike Parsons type of player, right, and can play on both sides of the ball. He can be everywhere, bring back those Brian Urlacher days, for Chicago, Briggs. Remember when they had those tough linebackers?
Yeah, haven't forgotten.
Bring it back, man.
Yeah, haven't forgotten. Yeah,
Midway Monsters. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Gave you flashbacks.
Keep them away. Keep them away as far as you can. No, I don't want to pause. It was bad enough we lost. Bad enough that the Packers lost to them last year. First time we lost to them since 2017. They hadn't beat us in 8 years, man. Was dominating those guys. Yeah, man. But it's all good. They got one in. I mean, at this point, I think Jordan Love's 3-1 against him. Aaron lost at least one against him. So that's okay, though. We'll see him again this year. At number 11, the San Francisco 49ers. We did get word that Brock Purdy did go into their first camp that they had today. So he did go in there to their volunteer camp today. So that's really big news for 49ers fans, especially knowing that he's looking for that contract, but he was there today for the 49ers. But where do the 49ers go at 11? What do they need to help Brock Purdy out?
I see they get Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. You look at, Trent Williams anchoring that line. He's on the back end of his career. They can get their suitable replacement here with Simmons. I just think that he visited with them shortly. They said, I think on the 16th, right? So there's definitely an interest there. I think that, they have a few places they could go, right? This team that we've seen them change a lot in the last few years, right? They moved a lot of pieces around, but I think, when you're in that predicament, you start with this O-line, anchor them down, and then you can branch out.
I said that'll be interesting to see because the 49ers have really, not want to say dismantled their team, but there's been a lot of shifting in the 49ers rosters here in this offseason. No more Deebo Samuel. And that's just one of the pieces that have moved on in San Francisco. A huge piece there for a while. At number 12, America's team. How about them Cowboys? Where do the Cowboys go in at number 12?
Them Cowboys. I got the Cowboys selecting Mikael Williams, the edge from Georgia. Man, listen, on the edge already, they have in that room, they got Kenneth Murray Jr., Jack Sanborn, Dante Fowler Jr. I think, you use his length to keep offensive linemen at the end of the punch. Dallas has been heavy on defense ever since drafting Parsons, so why not double down, and make this team just as nasty as they were a couple of years ago, where we started looking at Dallas like, man, maybe they will go to the Super Bowl this year, right? If they get that defense going like they did, I think they'll be on the right track.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if Dallas can kind of, find their way back here. I saw a mock draft yesterday from Mel Kiper and Field Yates, which if this happens for them, I would absolutely love it. At 12, they had them picking up Teteroa McMillan, T-Mac McMillan at 12.
T-Mac.
And at 40, I think it was 41 or 44, they had them getting Travion Henderson. And I'm like, man, what a draft it would be for Dallas if they were able to get those two guys on those first two picks. Wouldn't that be crazy? Oh my goodness.
It'd be wild.
It would be wild. At 13, the Miami Dolphins. Where did they go with their first pick?
Well, we know that the injuries that they have with Tua and the problems they have with protecting the quarterback. I said they go Will Campbell, LSU offensive tackle, 6'6", 323 pounds. He started all games at LSU as a freshman, right? They think that he may slip out of the top 10 just due to his arm length by itself. But, man, he could play left guard, which is what Miami needs. He could go to left tackle and maybe move over Patrick Paul somewhere else, right? I just think it's a great pick for them, and it fits the need.
Yeah, with Terry Armstead heading to retirement is definitely going to be a huge piece of the puzzle. A lot of people do some. There's a lot of people that see Campbell at number 4. So for me, I think if you're the Dolphins and you can get him here at 13, you got to grab him right away and grab a guy who could hopefully be the future of your offensive line. At number 14, the Indianapolis Colts. Where are they going with that 14th pick?
Yeah, with the 14th pick, we got the Colts selected Ashton Jeanty, running back Boise State. Now, at first, you're like, wait a minute. What's the deal with them growing running back here? As we know, they got Jonathan Taylor. But I think that, first of all, other than being the best player on the board, right, the guy almost broke Barry Sanders' college record, right, 28 yards away. Taylor will be 27 next year. We do see how running backs are treated over these past couple years in the NFL.
Yep.
They usually don't get that contract they want. They would take a cap hit of about $15.5 million, right? So why not get his replacement now and ride the gravy train? And who knows? Everybody has a two-back tandem anyway. You might be able to use them and stop using this guy, Taylor, as 80% of your offense. So,
yeah, wouldn't that be amazing? All that speed, that speed and that power. It will be very interesting to see if they can pull that off and what that would look like, especially with the quarterback position kind of in the air right now with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones at QB for the Indianapolis Colts. At 15, the Atlanta Falcons. James Brown doesn't want to have to do what I said he was going to do in the episode with Cody, and that would be burn down the building. Will he burn down the building with your pick at 15?
Hey man, I hope bless the Georgia Dome, bless Atlanta. I hope, man, they can keep the building upright. But I got them going Jihad Campbell. This guy's a monster. Team high 117 tackles at Alabama, top 10 all-time school leader. 11 tackles in the bowl game versus Michigan. He can rush. He can stop the run. And he's from New Jersey. Shout out to Russ Talifero.
All day.
He's ready. He's ready, man.
So there it is. They go defense finally after 4 straight years of going offense. Pitts.
Finally.
They went with Pitts. They went with Bijan Robinson. They went with Penix. They went with Drake London. So they had 4 straight offensive guys in their first round. And now finally, Falcons fans can say thank you. Somebody who can run after the after the QB. Please, Lord, please. At number 16, the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray and the crew. Kyler Murray and the crew. Where did they go at 16? Who is Kyler Moore?
It's all good. I got Arizona Cardinals selecting Tetaroa McMillan or T-Mac from Arizona. Big wide receiver, man. 6'4", 220. They said his hands are in the 85th percentile for wide receiver. So if Kyler Murray can't find anybody, he should be able to find this guy. So I got them going with T-Mac for Arizona.
So there you go. We got T-Mac heading to Arizona and helping out Kyler Murray, not Kyler Moore, who I can't marry Tyler Moore, but he will go down to Arizona and help out there. Now we head to 17 through 24, and the Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock. Where do you have the Bengals going at 17?
I got the Bengals going Donovan Ezeraku. Practice that one. Edge from Boston College. I think this guy, he can rush from both sides. The Bengals love to draft, young guys around 21 years old. He fits the bill, high motor, arsenal of moves. He can swim. He can shed blockers. I say they go with Ezeraku here.
Yeah, Ezeraku's getting a lot of love in this draft. I know some people say because he was in the ACC, maybe the leading the nation in sacks is maybe not that big of a deal, but you still got to get to the quarterback. You still got to do what you got to do to get to the quarterback. And even if it's not, I'm telling you, he's going to be one of those guys who's right up there and give people a lot of pressure. Actually, that was Mike Green, I believe, that led the nation, but he's still one of the best pass rushers in the country. So watch out for that. At 18, the Seattle Seahawks with Mike McDonald at the helm.
Mike McDonald. I said
McDonald.
Right. Right. I might want to change the name. It's a hit.
I'm out here just changing names today.
That was me.
We're not done yet.
I got the Seahawks right. We halfway there. I got the Seahawks selected James Pierce Jr., edge from Tennessee. Dude is 6'5", 245. I hear he's visited a couple of teams in the division. So if you do like him, he's very strong on film. You don't want him going to San Francisco and being a 49ers jersey. So if it allows, get him. They say he'll probably be a better pro player than he is a college player. He could take Boy Maffei's position if he leaves in free agency next year. So a good piece for them. They moved around some pieces on offense. We see Cooper Kupp land there. Why not add to the defense as well?
Yeah, very interested to see kind of where James Pierce ends up, because I've seen some mocks that have him going into the second round. I've seen people all the way up as close as maybe like 10 or 11. So it'll be interesting to see who values Pierce, at what level on Thursday. At number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. Where do the defending NFC South champions go?
Yep, I got the Bucs selecting Shamar Stewart, another edge rusher, Texas A&M. I just think that, the coaching staff will just get the best out of this young man. There's a lot of veterans there on the defensive side of the ball too. So they take him in under his wing. Who knows how good he can be, but they surprised everybody on the offensive end last year. Baker Mayfield was killing the game. I think that, he could step in and make some noise on the defensive side of the ball.
That'll be interesting to see. I know we spoke to Cody. Cody talked a lot about, he said he thinks this guy is a high level. He could be as good as, one of the, guys that just, shocked the world, or he could be one of those guys that kind of like, and maybe so it's like full, bust or blow. It's going to be something huge with Stewart. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. At number 20, a team near and dear to your heart. Don't look at that stuff in the background. That is not the way he affiliates. That is not what he affiliates with. But a team near and dear to your heart, the Denver Broncos. Where do they go at number 20?
I do bleed orange and blue. What can I say? I got Denver selecting Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State. Um, definitely a big body for Bo Nix to use in the middle. They had a lot of problems with having check down last year. This can actually help them go north and south. And he can be a pivotal part to this offense that they're building with a lot of young receivers. So I got them going Tyler Warren here.
Tyler Warren. Look, and it's interesting because this Denver team. Last year, you see Bo Nix leading the team in rushing touchdowns. I know that's something you don't want to see. I know that's something you don't want to see, but he definitely needs the weapons. And they could go receiver, they could go running back, or they could go tight end, and you would not be surprised that they make either of those moves. Do you may think that it's something where whoever's the best of the skilled players left available at any of those positions on offense? Do you see that maybe being the case?
I do. I could see that. They also did get had a really young running back room last year. Javonte Williams is gone, but man, they picked up what is it, Badi, last year, who actually did pretty good. But again, they're young, right? So why not add something to the running back room? I wouldn't mind that either. Like you said, the best available. As long as they come in and help immediately,
That's all you care about. That's all you care about. And here's the thing: this draft is running back heavy, and that's not often that you can say that. At least in the last couple of years, they've got probably about 8 guys that can go, that are they could be legit starters in the league. So that's why if you're a team that's in need of a running back, this is going to be a good year to draft a running back. At number 21, Mike Tomlin, who doesn't know how to have a losing season, is sitting here at number 21 after another playoff appearance. Where do the Pittsburgh Steelers go at 21?
Oh yeah, I think I lost you.
I'm sorry about that, y'all. I might have just but where do the Pittsburgh Steelers go at 21?
I heard you say they're looking for another playoff appearance, and that was
it. Man, the internet might the internet will get you.
I got the Steelers selected in Mecca Ibuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. I'm terrified of this guy. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I think that he might be, of all the receivers, the smoothest wide receiver out of his breaks in the draft. The guy can straight out fly. He has feet. He may not be the fastest in terms of top speed, but he can do so many things, right? He can be a kick returner for your team, which he didn't even have to do at Ohio State, but he can do it. I think he can be like a Tyler Boyd comparison when it comes to pairing with DK Metcalf and Pickens on the outside. You put that guy in the slot, and he can tear some teams up. So I got them selecting Ibuka here.
Well, what a three-headed monster that would be with Ibuka, Metcalf, and then Pickens. And whoever they end up deciding to be the quarterback, this guy's going to have a plethora of just a great choice of receivers to go to. And let's not forget about our Fairmouth. Yeah, Fairmouth. I always want to say his name wrong. But Pat Fairmouth out there, he's had a really good couple of seasons in Pittsburgh, so we'll see how that goes there. At 22, that's Los Angeles. I was about to say the San Diego. But the Los Angeles Chargers, they'll always be San Diego to me. The Los Angeles Chargers are on the board, and Jim Harbaugh, somebody you know really well, at the helm again for his second season. Where does he go at number 22?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to want to help Herbert at quarterback. I mean, he tried last year. Conklin definitely did his thing. But I do think that in Quentin Johnston, they wanted more out of him, right? So I think that this guy can come in and maybe beat that. 2023, you were looking at 86 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, right? He's aware of space, so he can get you yards after the catch. I think Luther Burden here from Missouri, he can do his thing. He has Deebo Samuel comparison, right? Just a straight-out playmaker. And if you get Luther Burden on this team with the right pieces, I think he'll be a good move for Los Angeles.
All right, the Chargers swoop up a receiver to go with McClunky and also to go with Quentin Johnston, who had a pretty solid year, scoring touchdowns last year. So his development is starting to creep along. So at number 23, the Green Bay Packers, a team that's near and dear to my heart. Where do you have the Packers going at number 23?
I got the Packers going with 23, Mike Green, edge rusher for Marshall. You don't hear a lot of Marshall called in the first round sometimes, but look, this guy is it. Second team All-American and Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year, finalist for the Ted Hendricks Award. I think that he's a Williamsburg native, so he's got them Virginia ties that we like.
Wahoo.
He actually went to went to UVA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Transferred to Marshall. He exploded on the scene. I mean, 17 sacks is pretty impressive. I think he has they also say he has a wrestling background. This guy is so fit. To give you a sense of his athleticism, Darrell, he was actually a prospect at wide receiver and now plays D
Crazy.
line. How crazy is that?
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
So, I
That,
mean, if
that
you
is
don't think
crazy.
he played enough against power conferences, go watch his film against Ohio State because he balled out.
Yeah, look, I've had a chance. I think we probably both have had a chance and didn't even realize it at the time, maybe. But we both have had opportunities to see this young man play, and I really would love to have another, personally have another Wahoo join the team. But we definitely need somebody who can continue to bring pressure, and I'm all about getting that Packers defense as top notch as possible. At 24, a team that I hate with all of my heart and soul, the Minnesota Vikings. Where do you have the Minnesota Vikings picking at 24?
Tell him how you really feel, man.
I hate them. I hate them with
Now,
all my heart.
I got the Vikings selected Maxwell Harrison, cornerback for Kentucky. One thing that the defense doesn't have is speed like this. 4.28 40-yard dash. All right. He has wings. He had an athletic score at the combine, was 96th out of the last 2,500 cornerbacks in the draft. That goes back to 1987. So just to give you a sense, he's one of the most athletic people the draft has seen in a long time. So I think that instantly he could help this Vikings defense.
And me and James talked about it last night. The Minnesota Vikings love drafting defensive backs. That is just something they like to do. And don't be surprised if they go there at number 24. Now we head to the bottom part of Lamont's first round mock, and we got the Houston Texans, a team that have had some issues at receiver, and they've had some issues on the offensive line. Now with Laramie Tunstall now out the door, with Stephon Diggs out the door at receiver, and then also Tank Dell injury situation is a little bit rough. Where do you have the Texans going?
I got the Texans going Derek Harmon at 25, defensive lineman from Oregon. I do believe that the GM, Nick Caserio, D'Amico Ryans, will love how much this guy causes havoc for interior offensive linemen. I hear that they're also looking at maybe Charles Grant from William & Mary there, the offensive tackle. They say that they're looking at a lot of offensive linemen, but I think this will be a good fit for them here at for the Houston Texans here.
Yeah, shout out to Charles Grant, getting a lot of love out there from William & Mary. I know Coach Mike London Sr. has to be thrilled to see one of his big old linemen getting a lot of shine here in this year's NFL draft. At 26, we've got the Los Angeles Rams. Where do you have the Rams going at 26?
At 26, I have the Rams going Matthew Golden, wide receiver for Texas. This guy's a flat-out playmaker down the field. I mean, we've seen what Texas wide receivers have been doing lately. You see what Xavier Worthy has done for Kansas City. Definitely will give, Stafford another option. Obviously they lose Cooper Kupp, and while all the attention is going to be on Puka Nacua, this guy Golden can come in and find some open spots and work the underneath maybe, and even go over the top sometimes while Nacua is doing his thing. So.
Yeah, I like this pickup here. Also Devontae Adams there. It's going to be an embarrassment of riches if they can get Matthew Golden. And they got Kyron Williams at running back, who's had some just scary times. Look, the Rams are on the cusp. They're a team you have to watch out for. Last year, I went out on the limb and I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl last year. I feel very confident. I feel very confident in that pick going into this year as well. I don't know if I'm going to go with that, but they're a team that I'm definitely on the watch there in LA. At 27, a team that is consistently getting to the playoffs, but just falling short. It seems like every single year. How do they get over the hump? And do they do that at 27? Do the Baltimore Ravens, do their pick help them get over the hump at 27?
I don't know if it helps them get over the hump. I think that could be another story because they have some serious playoff yips that we haven't seen in a while. But I do think that the Ravens, if they draft Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle for Michigan here, it fits their pedigree, right? They lost Michael Pierce to retirement, Brent Urban to free agency. He can pair with Nnamdi Madubuike, and they can do their thing, right? We know the Ravens and Steelers as those hard-nosed teams that are going to win up front. right? And if they get back to doing that, I think that things could fall into place. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a Lamar Jackson and an entire Ravens offense that can make noise, right? So
Right.
the new offensive coordinator looked good last year. We'll just see how things work, but I think that this will be a good draft for them right here if they get Grant.
Yeah, I'm very interested, especially after losing Pierce. You want to see if you can bring somebody in who can help bring as much havoc that Michael Pierce did. And I think, look, I think the interception was just too much for my man. I mean, he got the pick. He ran a couple yards. He almost looked like he was about to break his ankle the way he tried to landed it, tried to slide. He tried to slide. It was great. Shout out to Michael. Yeah, get down, big man, get down. But shout out to Michael Pierce.
All right.
Good luck in your retirement. But Kenneth Grant going there could be a really good deal for the Baltimore Ravens. At 28, the Detroit Lions, a team that is a little disappointed because they just couldn't get where they were this close to maybe realizing that dream and getting to a Super Bowl, but the Commanders had other plans. Where do you have the Detroit Lions going at 28?
I got the Detroit Lions selecting Colston Loveland, Michigan tight end. This guy will be a great addition. It would only fit the mold for Detroit. I mean, hailing from Michigan, he's speedy, so he'll give linebackers, a run for their money. Literally, just turned 21. He's young. They say his blocking needs a little bit of work, but if you see what he was able to do at Michigan, even with questionable quarterback play, you'd be impressed with this guy. So I think that if they get their hands on Loveland, he could pair with the Sam Laporta. We've seen these two tight end sets. And they can really do some damage. Amon-Ra St. Brown, oh my goodness, look out.
Yeah, I mean, look, this Lions team is getting more and more explosive each year. Even being nicked up as much as they were last year, they still were able to do really good things in Detroit. At number 29, a team that a lot of people, including your boy, did not see having the season that they had last season, but they were able to do some really good things and were this close to sending the Washington fan base into a Super Bowl for the first time since 1991. The Washington Commanders. Where do you have them going at 29?
I got the Commanders going Trey Amos, cornerback, Mississippi. After I said it earlier, on the show, after hitting the jackpot with Sandstrill, I think that you put another corner over here in Amos, and as physical as he is, he's the physical corner that also has speed. We talked about all those wide receivers in the NFC East, right? CeeDee Lamb. We talked about AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. All those guys. You're gonna need some help on the DB side, and they did have their moments last year where they needed help, but I think that this will be a good addition for them. And if it works out, who knows how far this team could go.
Man, oh man, the Commanders just seem like they've been hitting on all cylinders, even despite that rough NFC Championship game against the eventual Super Bowl champions. They seem to be on the up and up. At number 30, a team that's right behind your head, to the left of you, and it's not because that's what you want, but it's because you are in a Bills zone at the current time. The number 30 pick belongs to the Buffalo Bills. Where do you have Buffalo heading with the 30th pick?
Yeah, I got the Bills selecting Siobhan Revel, cornerback, East Carolina. We talk about fitting the mold. Long athletic corner, serious ball skills, A+ athleticism. I think he did have some trouble and a setback with the ACL injury, but if he's ready to go, he could step into this Buffalo Bills team. And man, he could do some work. I mean, we know their offense is prepped for a Super Bowl, right? They have been for quite some time. Their defensive side, they get shaky at some times. So last year they looked amazing. And if they draft this guy, he turns out to be the beast they think he is. I think Buffalo Bills they'll be right there in the mix again.
Well, look, Buffalo is a team that's like Baltimore, just trying to get over the hump. Can they make it happen this season? Can they get the pieces to take that next step?
They ain't have to be my boys in the playoffs like that, though. I will say that,
man. Yeah, well, I know it was a little. It was just a little bit disrespectful.
That first touchdown, I was hyped, man. That was the longest, whatever it was, 40 minutes of my life.
I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it, and I don't like it at all. At the next one, we've got the defending AFC champion. Kansas City Chiefs. Where do you have the Kansas City Chiefs going at number 31?
Yeah, at number 31, I have the Chiefs going with Malachi Starks, safety at Georgia. I mean, I think that this could be the most impactful pick at safety. Since they had or addition since they had since having having the Honey Badger there, right? I think that this guy could do some work. Um, he's physical. He can come up and stop the run. Something that the Chiefs have been so good at already. But you also don't have to usually worry about him being over top with serious coverage because usually they don't give teams that much time. So if he can come in and fit that scheme, they add this piece and rich get richer. I know they didn't Super Bowl didn't end how they wanted last year, but we all know that there's a team that's still feared, definitely by me. Um, so Starks can add to this team here, straight out of Georgia.
And see, that's the thing, man. Like you look at this team, and it's just like it's just amazing how they keep finding ways to win, even when it didn't look like they would be able to bounce back last year. They had an amazing season last year and found themselves in the Super Bowl once again. At 32, our last pick in Lamar Thomas's mock draft belongs to the defending Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. Where do the Eagles go at 32?
Yeah, I think the champions mess around and they select another champion out of Ohio State, right? Tyleik Williams, only right, a big guy on the line, man, for Ohio State, and he's dominant. So I think that man, he's born in Manassas, Virginia. There's another fun fact for you. He's a VA guy,
Manassas.
but definitely he's a beast at defensive tackle, and he is going to do what they're already doing. With those big guys that the Eagles have, and he'll just be, another rotation piece to slip in there and cause some havoc.
Yeah, so we'll
That's
see. We'll see if they go defensive tackle. They did lose Brandon Graham in the
right.
offseason to retirement, the two-time Super Bowl champion. And so why not go ahead and grab you another young gun to go alongside Jalen Carter and just make that defense. They're really just extremely young and talented. Is that a
Yes.
problem now? Maybe about 2 to 3 years from now, they'll have a problem when they got to try to figure out how to pay everybody. But while you
Right.
got them young and dangerous, you got to take advantage of it. All right, so there it is. There's Lamont's first round mock draft. Look, Lamont. Let's talk a little bit about your draft here. Some really interesting picks throughout the draft. But just from you, what pick are you the most excited about from your mock draft that you can't wait to see on the field this season?
I mean, it actually changes, Darrell. The more that I look at it, I think about the picks and I think about where they fit. And I think about, just how they're going to pan out with their teams. And it's really hard to tell. I mean, I start to look right around that 20 spot where things really are shaking up and, you got people off the board. I mean, kind of biased, but I'm looking at, what happens with Tyler Warren, right? Wherever he goes, because he might be an absolute beast. And if he is, it'll be fun to watch. I think people like Emeka Egbuka is highly, highly underrated. I know there's wide receivers in front of him, but I think if he goes to the right team in the slot, he will be a problem. I see him being a Garrett Wilson, right? Where we're just like, oh, he gets 1,000 yards no matter what quarterback he has, right? Guys like that, I just think that we really just got to watch what happens with them. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think like somebody like a Maxwell Hairston for Kentucky, he's just so fast, right? Like can you imagine a guy going out there and locking up, the top wide receivers every week? I don't know how good he's going to be, and man to man being a little bit smaller, but I just think that he's so quick that if his speed shows like that on the field, good luck.
Well, it will be interesting to see how this draft plays out on Thursday. Lamont, I know you're excited about the upcoming draft to see what the future holds for your squad. I know that's how I feel about mine. I'll be sitting here. I'm still trying to figure out what draft night one meal would be. I'm still working on that right now.
Right.
Probably going to go standard, may go wings. Man, not trying to do too much, nothing too crazy, but right. Very excited about what's going to be up ahead here for the 2025 NFL draft, and it culminates from Green Bay. I would have loved to went up there to see that,
Rambo.
but it's okay. It's okay. In due time. In due time. All right, everybody. That is it for episode 166 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. We'd like to thank our man Lamont Thomas for coming in and being a part with us for this episode. Tomorrow we got our man Jay Quimby. He'll be coming on to give his final mock draft, and then your boy will have his on Thursday. Lamont, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here, brother?
Man, just shout out to Bowie TV. Everybody who follows, share, and subscribe for Legacy Maker Sports. All our plugins, all of our shows. They do such a great job. So we just appreciate everybody for tuning in. And we'll be right there with you for the NFL draft. Just keep in mind of all the coverage you got. You heard it here first, man. Legacy Maker Sports Network.
That's right, baby. That's right. All right, everybody. We thank you all once again. It's been episode 166 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and airing on the amazing Bowie Television.
One. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof.